Hey everybody, in this video I'm just going to straight up work out these examples, which are expanding logarithmic expressions. To go over the three properties that I'll be using, you want to see the videos 1, 2, and 3, examples 1, 2, and 3 of section 3. So there'll be S3E1, S3E2, and S1E3. Okay, but let's get into expanding these logarithmic expressions. Okay. So for my first example over here, we have log base b of this entire expression. Now I'm going to do it in 2 steps, although normally I would probably just do the whole thing in 1 step, but I'm going to show it in 2. Some of you might even do it in 3. I don't know. So I have a product, right? So I'm going to use product property, log base b of x squared, and then plus, using logarithmic product property, log base b. And now instead of writing radical y, I'm going to write y to the 1/2 power because I'm going to write it with an exponent instead. So I start with that, and then next I'm going to use power property, so that comes out front. So it's 2 log base b of x plus 1/2 log base b of y. And that's it. Boom. There's your answer. Finito. I hope you love it. Next example is, let's do this one. Log base 6. Now, as soon as I see the 6 and I see 36, I'm anticipating that I'm going to be able to clean this up in some capacity. Another thing that makes this example a little bit different is you have a product in your denominator. And since the quotient property is going to give us subtraction, we're using our denominator as the second portion of that expanded form, then with the product property being used within there, that minus is going to distribute, and I will end up with subtraction in front of 2 logarithmic expressions. I hope that makes sense. Rewind it and play it again if you need to. So I have log, I'll break it into a few steps. Log base 6 of x to the 1/3, that's my numerator right there, minus, and I'm going to use brackets just to kind of distinguish a little bit, log base 6 of 36 plus log base 6 of y to the 4th. Very, very confusing with all of the subscripts and superscripts, so you really have to have your handwriting in tip-top situation, right? All right, so next line, I'm going to use the power property, and 1/3 is going to go out front. Log base 6 of x is right there. That first expression is basically done. Minus. Now I'm distributing this minus, so I'm going to have subtraction for that, and I will have subtraction for that. But while I'm at it, 6 to what power is 36? Log base 6, 36. 6 to what power is 36? 2. Boom. So 2 is replacing log base 6 of 36, right? Next, minus, and now a couple things at once. I'm distributing the minus, and I'm bringing the 4 with power property out front. So 4 log base 6 of y. And that's it. Finito. We are done. So will you possibly, break it into more steps? It's possible, but that is all we need to do right there. Now, again, you're going to have to go frontwards, backwards, both directions. So when you're given something that looks like what we just circled over here, when you're given something that looks like that and you got to work backwards, it's very important. Anything with the minus sign is going to correspond to things that go in the denominator. Anything with a minus sign in front of it, with the minus sign will correspond to expressions in the denominator. You should not be building compound fractions. Just nice, clean, and organized. One fraction. No fractions within fractions. No inception of fractions. Okay. Next example. Got 2 more to do. So next example we have over here, see if I could squeeze it on the bottom, log base b of x to the 4, so multiplication, plus log base b of y to the 1/3 power. And hopefully you guys are already seeing where I'm going to head with this. Next part, we're going over here. I will have 4 log base b of x plus 1/3 log base b of y. Trying to see if I could do a little zooming out. How's that? So there we go. So final answer. I know my b's and my 6's are like one and the same. My 6's are too straight and my b's are maybe curved. So yeah, these are b's in example checkpoint A, and in example 4b, those are 6's. The other one's b's. Oh my god, they all look the same. I'm so sorry. All right, and that's the end of that example. Nothing I could do there. And now in example checkpoint B, I see the 5 and the 25. It's like echoing what we just saw with the 6 and the 36. So let's go and do that one. So I will kind of loop around over here. Okay, can we see? Okay, I want to leave everything on the screen. So we got log base 5 of x to the 1/2 minus the quantity of, with a bracket, not interval notation bracket, just, you know, bigger than a parenthesis bracket. And you could use a parenthesis, but it helps me distinguish because some of you might put parentheses around other parts inside. So I'm really trying to highlight this, you know. Log, now I'm doing the quotient property and product property within. Log base 5 of 25, and right now the way I'm writing it, plus log base 5 of y to the 3rd, and closing the bracket like that. Next, just a hair more. Let's get rid of this, get this out of the way. All right, last thing, let's see, I'm going to do a bit of the power property. Okay, so that means I'm going to bring that 1/2 out front, that 3 out front. I'm going to distribute the minus, so I'm going to see that minus going to both these guys over here, and I'm going to basically evaluate log base 5 of 25. So those are the things I'm going to tackle, right? So I basically evaluated log base 6 of 36 right there, right? I distributed this minus sign into there and there for that example. And I moved the powers out front and did that, say, with the 1/3 and the 4, which we saw go here and here. And then those minuses were right there and right there. So I'm mimicking a lot of that. Now, is every example set up exactly like these? No, not identical, but, you know, I remember, weird analogy, but I remember when I was a kid and learning how to draw, one of the first things I would do is actually like sort of trace things. And I actually, before I traced like onto plain paper, I actually would just use a marker and trace the edges of like a coloring book picture, and then I would color inside of it. And I feel like I was just building muscle memory of like how to draw something by tracing over an existing drawing. And I feel like it's very effective. And I think with math, if you're not understanding what you're doing, I mean, step one, just rewrite problems, build that muscle memory. Then go to do it, you know, more on your own. Maybe you look back every once in a while, but you're still copying, but you're doing as much from memory and kind of by yourself as possible. And then fully do it by yourself eventually, you know? So it's similar in that way, because I feel like people find it weird if you're into art and math, as if they're so different. But, you know, are they? I don't think so. A little bit similar. All right, so let's go ahead. So I have the 1/2 out front power property times the log base 5 of x minus 5 to what power is 25? The answer is 2. But let's put a little asterisk here, okay? Like reminder. Be careful because our brains tend to do a little bit of autocorrect sometimes. I know I'm very guilty of it. Like I want problems to work out nicely a lot of the time. So if you have log base 25 of 5, don't accidentally think that the answer is 2. Don't accidentally think the answer is, 5. It's saying to you 25 to what power is 5? So what would the answer to that question over here be? Well, it is 1/2 because it's the square root. But oftentimes you're going to see people that are going to kind of autocorrect, right? They're going to make it into something they want it to be. I see that a lot with something like 12x equals 3. And you have to divide, right? And people don't show the next step. And what do they write? They write x equals 4. Is that correct? No, because they wanted it to be a whole number, right? So they divided 12 by 3, but really it's 3 divided by 12. The answer would be 1/4. So, just that was just a little thing to point out. Be careful in the future. All right, continuing. So I'm distributing the minus, right? So now this is minus. Now the 3 is going to come out front, and I have log base 5 of y. And there you go. All done Zeroni. And that's the end of this example. Can't do more with that. I don't think I missed anything. So I think the next example, I'll be condensing. So I'll be going in the opposite direction. So go ahead and check that out. If you need more practice with the properties in more of a basic context, go ahead and go back to the 3 videos before this one. If necessary, okay? And I think that's everything on here. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you could follow along, and if so, thumbs up. If not, you need more support, dial 911. Need to put a thumbs down. Questions, comments, concerns, feedback, and requests, go in the comment section. Check the playlist on the screen right now, or check the description box to see if there is something there that you are looking for. All right? Bye for now. Adios.